Okay, today was a very interesting day. Justice was served on a plate whose meat was truth. It just received a huge dose of no bullshit here. The Crown sought to overthrow the freedoms of another, but lost in a very, very incredible way. Now, Neil said all the right things and all the truthful things. He never backed down once, he never lied once. He served the truth on a platter that was rich in experience. I know I'm using platter. It's okay. He didn't sell himself short or out for the safe path. That in itself has to be applauded in Scotland, because I've become to realise in Scotland the truth is very easily covered up. The free press has come to Scotland. It's arrived. What can we say about that except it can only be a good thing? Because the truth has an uncanny knack of rendering deception invalid. Because that's what it does. The truth shines a very bright, specific point of light upon those that determine the truth in their own image. Law is all about truth. It's not about deception. It's not about ego or self-righteousness. It's simply about the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. In Scotland, a man was jailed. He had his freedom taken away because of deception by the police and by the justice system. That weakness that chose to bend the truth and lie to get an innocent man arrested, that is despicable. It really is. And that's happened, but will those police officers be racked with guilt? No. They'll sleep well. As well as freedom thieves do, because that's what in essence they do. They pick on people and they steal from them. It's either money or it's the freedom. It's either money or freedom or character. It reduces them, makes them it belittles them. And that's not the right way to be. So they'll sleep very well. They'll get through their dreams and they'll cuddle their partner and go back to work the next day. But today, in court, that deception was challenged and it lost. What is meant by it was challenged and it was lost? It was challenged by truth. It was challenged by truth. So you could say that in a way, today's the beginning of truth being represented for the people. It has to be. It can't be looked at any other way. When an organisation moves into the darkness of abuse of the people, when the organisations remove basic human rights of the people, well, that has to be challenged. It cannot not be challenged. It has to be. But it takes a certain type of person to challenge it. And we're at the situation in the United Kingdom, and specifically in Scotland, because I live here, that there's not many people that challenge this. There's not many people challenge the stupidity and the belittling of the breach of the peace go-to section that police use. It's trivial now. It's it's just trivial. It doesn't have to be this way. That's why it has to be challenged. So an organisation that moves and operates within the darkness of like lies and deception, it has to be brought back. I'm using darkness and light a lot because it's quite an easy way to see it in your mind's eye. But the few that actually stand together right now will be there all the time. And that'll become more. That will actually become more. And when more starts to become many of the people, then it becomes a tide. It's like a tide. It's like the bore. It just drives through. Because that's the way truth is. Neil showed today that when a person stands up to corruption, then that corruption will become. It's like a big spot. It's like a big sore. It'll fester, and it'll just fester and fester, and which it has done now for such a long time, and it's got to the point now where it's festering, but it's ready to pop, like a big spot. In the process, what'll happen is the rats will start sinking the ship, which means those that can't get away with it anymore They can't live in a police force or a justice system that runs on the truth all the time. They'll jump ship, just like the rats. They'll jump ship. They'll go somewhere else. They'll become a security guard, basically. And what happens is those people that are left, they have two choices. They remain the same. Number one, they remain the same. They don't grow. They don't expand their experiences. They get tighter within themselves. They limit the experience. And it's like you got these. Even a weed is a beautiful flower and a beautiful petal, but it might be a weed, and that's what we have in this police system and the justice system now. It's like a weed, but it's a bad weed. It's a bad one. Roundup won't get rid of it. There's only one thing that gets rid of it, and that's the truth. But these people, they have to realize this. They either remain the same or they don't grow. They start to wither, and they change and become servants of the people again, not the other way around. That's the whole point. They'll either stay the same or they'll wither, and they have to become the servants of the people again. So number two, I've just said actually number two, they have to change and become servants of the people again. So where does that leave us after that? After that's thought about? Well, something happened today which I didn't expect. I got really inspired when I was listening to Neil's answers to the Crown Prosecutor's questions and the barbs that she was getting him, trying to get him to respond, just like you see on telly, but not as dramatic, of course. But it was still the same procedure. So even though he had a person who at times was quite vicious and was definitely pitted against him for sure, definitely, and that person sought to remove the truth from sight and sound within the court. There was even an attempt to ridicule Neil's high ideals. That happened. That actually happened. And when you get people ridiculing people's high ideals for just because of a wage, that's not good. It's not good at all. And like one of the things that stood out today, that even though that was happening, Neil, even though twice he came close to biting the bullet, he didn't. And as soon as he didn't, he settled down. And what happened was he came out with something that was really powerful. And that is what happens. So, even the time when there was despicable things that this woman was saying, this prosecutor was saying, he didn't retaliate. He wanted to, but he knew that's not the way it works. And what he did was Neil actually shot them down, those ideas, those deceptions down in flames. He just shot them down in flames. And that was because of his strength, of what he believes in. Any man who goes and supports another person who's been arrested, goes and does exactly the same thing, knowing full well that he's within the law, he's not done anything wrong, but still goes and challenges that same thing that's happened with another person, in my books, is 100% loyal, and that's great. And Neil showed his strength when he was getting questioned by the prosecutor, and I was like just sat there and I'm thinking, yeah, I can feel it from here. And Neil didn't realise how it was coming across, but it was coming across like he was really strong, which he was. There was no bullshit in what he was saying. There was no ego in what he was saying. He was just the truth, straight on the ball, straight truth. And that's it. And something happened in my brain. He suddenly went, it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that had never meant anything to me before. And yet, when Neil said that one thing with such conviction, then that thing became real to me. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that's how people in the United Kingdom roll. That's how we work. That's how we roll. We don't use anything but just truth. There is nothing deceptive in what we do. We go out and we take pictures. We take photographs. I'm the first person to turn around and say I'm shit at it. I can never remember what anything is on it. So I just take pictures. But that's what we do. And in the process, We don't challenge anything. We don't challenge the courts. We don't challenge the police. We have no need to challenge anybody. All we do is take pictures. That's all we do. There is no breach of the peace in taking pictures. That's all we do. We don't fight. We don't ridicule. We don't belittle police or justice people. We don't. But the thing is, when you get into a court situation, that has to become the bedrock of what we believe in and what we know to be the truth. Because I got to witness today somebody standing up for his rights, and ultimately that is for other people's rights too. Because that's how we do it. It's how we do it. Even in adversity. Neil was in adversity at times today, from what this woman was saying. This Crown prosecutor was saying. And it was bullshit. It was actually bullshit. And I purposely made myself sit there and not pick sides. And I wanted to listen. But I'll tell you what I learned today. I learned mens rea and actus reus. I learned that today. I saw it in life. I saw it in words. I saw it in sentences. I saw it in intention. But it didn't work. The attempt to get that mentality within a framework of mens rea didn't work. What it did was it switched it around itself on its head. Because what happened was it was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You can't twist that. You just can't do it. Look, you know, and I know, that if we put petrol in a car, it'll go, all things considering. Petrol, it will work. We know that. There is no way around that. You can waffle as much as you want to. But the fact is, the petrol makes the car go. You can't make it any different to what it is. All right, I know some people are going, what about diesel? What about electric cars? But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And I witnessed that today and what it actually meant. I'm glad I remembered that, actually. So it was a pleasure. It was an honour to witness that. It was a pleasure and an honour to be with Neil and Spitshine 69, UK Freedom Audits. It was a pleasure. Although there was times when his heart was beaten, my heart was beaten, and Spitshine's was beaten, he handled it so well. It's a different animal when you go to court and you have to speak. It's a different animal altogether. But what I learned today was it gives us all hope who want to live with truth. We are press. We are free press. We have our basic human rights, which a policewoman, it's in their oath. They have to do that. And that's not what's happening. But what is happening is we are reminding these people on that is what they took an oath in, and they're better for fucking shouting hells. Better start listening to that. You can't beat the truth. No matter what deception you use, you can't beat it. You could have done 100 years ago, but now the truth gets leaked out. You cannot twist the truth anymore. It'll keep happening. But what I witnessed today is the beginning of the end of that twisting, of that not taking the oath that was taken and keep it as a high ideal. Free press. Free press and basic human rights. Free press, everybody is a press person. Human rights, everybody has them fundamental human rights. But when people are arrested, that's usually the first thing that goes missing or forgotten. So anyway, spoke long enough. My heartfelt thanks to Neil for turning up when he didn't, and I was sad that he got arrested. I really was sad. But what I saw today was incredible. I saw a person who believed implicitly in what they were doing handle himself with dignity and clarity. And when that clarity was challenged, he became even more clear. Even more clarity was dished out. So, well done, Neil. You're a good person. You're a really good human being. And it's a pleasure knowing you. Bye-bye now.